everyone. I am it's like very loud. I am super excited to be here today to talk to you about how to start lean AI startups. And during this session, you will actually learn as well why I hate the term AI startup, and we should never use that anymore. So my name is Kevin. I've done a lot of things in the past. I was a chess champion, a competitive gamer, a professional poker player. My entire career was a strategy consultant at SKP and BCG. I have one health tech company, and now I'm focusing 100% of my energy in AIPiping. We do outbound sales on autopilot. Basically, we bring efficiency and performance to B2B sales. So for today, we'll have a packed session of 30 minutes. First, I'll talk about going lean and building and shipping fast for a startup. Then, because you can ship so fast, how do you actually build a moat that is defensible? Then I'll touch point a little bit on fundraising at the end of this session. I hope you guys are excited, because I am. So first, about the direction your startup takes, because that's the most important thing about going lean. It's not a secret that you should launch an MVP super fast, talk to your customers, and get feedback. Except in this current environment, there's so much noise in the market that it's extremely difficult to differentiate which customer to listen to. And the main reason is, you have actually three reasons. The first one is a lot of companies that are AI first promise a lot of things, and from a customer point of view, when they look at the landing page, it's very difficult for them to realize what value the startup brings and to compare between different startups. Second, you also have a lot of legacy players, like all the SaaS who are adding AI to their product, which makes it also super confusing to decide for the customer. The second point is, because ChatGPT is so much everywhere, it's also extremely difficult for your customer to realize if your product is just a wrapper around ChatGPT, or do you bring something more? And then the third point is the customers, they usually don't even know what they want, and they don't even know what AI can do. So all these three things makes it that you should be extremely careful in launching your startup and listening to the feedback, because a lot of feedback are actually none that great to listen to. So I have actually three personas of clients that you see. The first one are the stingy negotiators. And these ones are actually very prominent in Southeast Asia. And these are the guys who will ask for discounts. Because you're in beta, they'll ask for discounts. Because you don't have these features, they'll ask for discounts. And should you actually listen to them and implement those features? Well, I don't think so, because even if you do it, those were just excuses to get that discount. So skip them. The second part are all the undecided people. These are the guys who are overwhelmed by all the choices they see in the market, and they'll come to you asking for these features and that features because, well, they see other startups doing it, and that's a big problem as well, because as you know, the better product is not the product with a huge list of features, but it's rather the one that is super focused. So again, skip the undecided. The ones that you want to listen to, those are the MVPs, the GOATs, it's the delighted people. Those are the ones that it's super easy to sell to. Actually, in my experience, like for our startup, even though we raised our price from $50 per month to $200 to then $500, we still ended up like selling right during the initial call. So the first 15 minutes, we send the payment link during the Zoom, and people would pay. And those clients are the gems, because their need is so big, and you meet their need, because they know your product is not ready. When they ask for actual features, then you should listen to them. All right, once you know how to set your direction and what features to build, the next part, which is probably the most important part, is to build your team. If I were to ask you right now in the audience, like, what do you believe is the biggest strength of being in Southeast Asia when you are building an AI startup? What do you think that is? Well, I actually can't hear, but okay. So it's actually the team. It's on the slide. You have very cost-efficient talent that is there, and even for compared to let's say like engineers that are in the US or in Europe that are arguably better in this very specific situation of having an AI company, means that everything is so new. Like all the APIs that you are using, all the LLMs, everything is so new. You are more looking for street smart and passionate people. Because this is the key. They need to keep up to date and keep really on top of the market that is evolving so fast. Now the next question is, how do you find passionate people? Because everyone wants passionate people. Well, in this specific situation, because ChatGPT came out and all the developers, at least if they have a little bit of entrepreneurial mindset, they would have launched something on their spare time, so a side project. And that's the question you want to ask them. What did you spend your weekends, the past few weekends on? And what you want to hear is that they did a side project on it. But now there's a little tricky part, is because if you look at street smart people, they'll probably know that you're looking for that answer, so they'll kind of lie or embellish the truth. So we had like freelancers who were actually doing work for another company saying that it was their pet project because they want the job, so they want to tell me what I want to hear. The best way to figure them out and to see if someone is lying is to actually use a technique called the fast-firing question, which is what cops around the world and actually immigration this morning did to me when I arrived in Jakarta, is to ask a barrage of questions very, very fast. You go 5, 6 level deeps. And the thing is, if you are lying, you will have never prepared for all the 5, 6, 7 questions deep to answer it. So that's how you figure out if someone is actually lying, embellishing the truth, or if they actually did something. And fun story, like one of our developers that we hired, he even like showed me his entire Google Analytics directly during the call to show me like everything. So once you know that you want the street smart and the passionate people, you want to move on to how do you position them, right? I believe very fondly on that full remote, it works, even if you hear a lot of companies going back to the office just because of cost efficiency. The second part where you shouldn't save money on, I believe, is to hire them directly. Because one of the biggest appeal for a job seeker, especially in Southeast Asia, is actually job stability. I know that it's like super ironic because you're launching a startup and then people want job stability, like what? The thing is, I agree that if you are scared about your job or if you don't think you can pay your rent at the end of the month, then it's very difficult to project yourself long-term and to feel safe there. So key thing here, spend the money to hire them directly, and you have tons of companies who help you do that, right? You have like Deal, Gleans, all of that, and those are like employees of record, and you just pay a premium to hire them directly. Once you have your team, you want to enable them for performance. So the most important part here is to have a very strong polarizing culture. And the key word is polarizing, because a lot of companies will say that they have a strong culture, but guess what? When you read their values or their efforts, you realize that it's like very, like bland. Like they want courageous, innovative, like everyone will agree on those values. Those are not polarizing values. It's not a strong culture if everyone agrees to it. You want polarizing, meaning that some people who read it, they must hate your culture. Then you get people who love it, and you hire these guys. And the best thing you can do is build a cult around it, like a cult of employees and a cult of customers. Because it's linked to the next part, linking that culture to the identity of people. I don't know if you noticed, but sometimes when you ask people to introduce themselves, they'll say, hey, I'm Bob, I'm a Googler. Like they identify themselves with their job. I don't know if it's great in a personal level, but from a company level, that's fantastic. Because once you link your identity to the company, you'll give your entire soul to it. So that's what you want to do. You want to link that identity to your company, but it's very difficult to do if you're not a Google, right? You don't have the brand name to do that. How do you do it? Well, you need to craft experience, job experience that are so unique and so out of the ordinary that the people will come back and tell their friends and their family about it. For example, what we do is we do 7 days offsite to Bali. We bring all our developers, the new hires, and a few of the core team. Everything is paid. It's a great villa. We have a cook. We have a masseuse. And then we bring them all together at one place. That's great because, first of all, you have a face-to-face interaction, which makes it way easier afterwards to do remote because you can ask questions easily. You're not scared of it. Second, you can push a work culture and work ethics that is there. For example, us, we work during the weekend, and it's fine because it's all about pushing for the product out and also taking care of the people outside. So that's why we have like a cook and a masseuse to make sure that everything is great. The last part, which is the most important, is actually a lot of these guys have sometimes even never traveled. We had employees who had to do their own passport. And guess what? That's fantastic because when they go back to their home, it's an experience that they'll always remember, and they'll tell all their friends about it. And all of that costs like $800 per employee per week, so very cheap in the end. The last part is about to do training. So if I was to pick a issue, maybe not an issue, but yeah, downside with the talent here, and obviously I'm generalizing, but it will be a lack of creativity and maybe a lack of ownership. But those are teachable skills. The hunger and being passionate, that's very difficult to teach. But teaching ownership, that's way easier. The best thing to do that is to actually push people to do mistakes. I always find it funny when I was working in Fortune 500 type of companies where they say their culture is about innovation, but then when you make mistakes or when you run failed experiments, you get completely trashed by your review. And that happened to so many friends I had. You can't have people who are scared of making mistakes push for innovation. That's not possible. So at AIPiping, what we do is we push people to do fast experiments. If they fail, great, it's okay. The second part is actually a tactic that I took from McKinsey, which is called the obligation to dissent, which means that no matter who you are and no matter who is speaking, whether you are the CEO or an intern, if you don't agree with what's being said or what is being written, you have to speak up. This slows down slightly your decision making, but at least you are sure that you don't have any blind spot, and it pushes people to own at least their opinion, which is great. All right, now you have your team, you have the direction, you also want to know how to automate and how to build your entire product. What I believe in is you should start very, very, very manual. And it's completely fine to be manual. I feel like a lot of people are ashamed by saying that they're doing things manually, but if you think about it, Stripe or DoorDash are doing things extremely manually at the beginning. For those who don't know, DoorDash is a food delivery platform, the ancestor of GrabFood. They're worth 60 billion or something in the US. And very famously, their founders, the MVP that they had was just to put pictures of restaurants' menu on a website with a phone number. Clients would call that phone number, you ring the founder's phone, the founders will write down the order, then they'll call themselves the restaurant, go pick up the order, and serve the customers. You really can't do more manual than that. And it's fine. It's fine, why? Because the experience from the client perspective, they think it's a great tech behind. Actually, you have an army of people doing things, but it's okay. And you actually want your engineers to do things manually, because when comes the time to automate it, then they know all the pain, they know all the intricacies of what they need to automate, then they go very fast. So how do you automate it? Do it in a very scrappy way. Scrappy meaning use like Zapier, N8N, scripts, things that are non-scalable. It's fine. You are trying to push your product as fast as possible out to get feedback, right? So automate in a very, very lean way. And again, what to automate? Automate for quality of life and user experience for your user. Don't automate for your own quality of life, because that can come later. A few tools to kickstart your startup. Again, it's very personal here, but what we're doing is Zapier N8N for automation. We use GitHub Copilot, ChatGPT for coding. Actually, we use ChatGPT for everything. We use our own tool, AIPiping, to do B2B sales on autopilot, DealSlick for HR accounting, and one that I love is actually Loom, which does, for those who don't know, asynchronous video communication. And this enables you to record your screen and record yourself and send the video as a message. And that avoids so many meetings. Because what I realized is, if you think about it, your value per hour, maybe $200 per hour for one founder. You have two founders, that's already $400, plus two employees at $50. You have a meeting that costs you $500 per hour. Are you really creating $500 value in that meeting? Probably not. So use Loom. And also, I noticed that engineers, they tend to stop working 20, 30 minutes before the meeting, and they can't get back in the zone right after the meeting either. So that meeting cost is actually enormous. So avoid all the meetings with Loom. I'm not sponsored by Loom, by the way. But. Moving on to the next part. Since it's so easy to build an AI company, how can you get a moat, and a defensible moat? First, I really strongly believe that AI is a commodity. The same way as no one nowadays is saying that they're building an internet company, I predict that in 5 years' time, no one would say that they're building an AI company. Because AI is so ubiquitous, it's so much everywhere, in all the SaaS that you are using, like HubSpot, Salesforce, Microsoft, suite like Excel, anything. Everyone has AI, so that's not a differentiator anymore. How do you find your differentiator and how do you find your moat? Well, you need to think one step further. You need to think about what generative AI enables you to do that hopefully wasn't possible before. So if you take a few steps back, generative AI enables you to do at scale creation, reviewing things, analyzing, personalizing, and so on and so forth. So what? What does it unlock? For us, for example, we set out to build hyper-personalized email at scale. So we're actually sending thousands and thousands of emails that are fully, truly personalized to the recipient. We realized that by doing that, we're actually doing a lot of permutation in those emails. Like, are those emails long, are they short, are they super salesy or super laid back? Do you add like case studies, or do you add a call to action directly? All of those different parameters, we have now tons of data because we're sending it at scale. It wasn't possible before because personalizing emails before was very costly. And it took like 15 minutes per sales rep to do that. Now we have that, and we put all of this information into a machine learning model that now is able to tell us, for any specific prospect, how to maximize the interaction, to maximize the conversion with them. And that's our moat. It's not the AI. The AI is just a commodity that we're using, and we can swap between LLMs without issues. Again, on defensibility, two ways of thinking about it, especially about barriers. You have the more common one, which is a product-centric barrier, which is the majority of companies, because of economies of scale, because of specific tech, the product becomes very hard to duplicate. You can't really do much here, but the second part is the interesting one, the customer-centric defensible moat. It's when the more a customer uses your product, the stronger the performance for that specific client. So think about Spotify, for example. The more you use and you listen to the music and you put the likes, the better the recommendation, the more you put soundtracks in a playlist, the better the product. This is what you want to do. For us, for example, for emails, the more a customer sends emails, the more refined those emails are and the higher the conversion. And it means that our customers will not churn. They won't go to a competitor because all this won't be able to be exported, and we just need to capture more and more customers because they won't go away. The key thing here is about pricing and to price sufficiently high that those customers that you keep can maintain the boat. On pricing, there's also a great part here is that generative AI, the value add that it brings, is actually comparable to the value that an employee brings. And that's fantastic because an employee costs 5 digits per year, so around like 10K, 30K, 50K per year. If you are bringing equivalent in terms of value, you can probably charge at that level. So if you look at the chart on the right, these are those ways to make a $100 million business in terms of revenue. So it's a whole spectrum, right? On one end of the spectrum, you have the elephants of the world. You are targeting companies who will pay you 100K per year, and you just need 1,000 customers to get your 100 million. So this is the type that are like Salesforce. On the whole other end of the spectrum, you have the mices and the flies who are paying $10 to $100 per year. Those are, let's say, like Spotify, Netflix, and you need 10 or like 1 or 10 million of those customers to make a $100 million business. But the key thing here, and the one you want to focus on, are deer. Those deers, they are willing to pay 5 digits, and the interesting thought is the rabbit, which is the brown thing in the middle that you can't really recognize, and the mice, these guys are the SMEs that are now willing to pay the pricing of a deer. So you're pushing all of this market up because of the value that you are bringing, which means that you can target so much more of the market now. Moving on to the last slide about funding. What I believe strongly here is it's a difficult environment, and on top of that, what I mentioned about the noise in the market, the fact that it's very difficult for clients to differentiate between different companies. I believe it's the same thing for investors. It's extremely hard for them to differentiate between different startups to invest on. And when an investor doesn't know what to do, then they look at the metrics, the quantifiable things, like your traction and everything. The issue is if you are a pre-seed company or an early company, you don't have those metrics. Like, we actually had a VC asking us, and we are in the pre-seed stage, we are still in beta. A VC actually asked us the customer acquisition cost per country. And that's like ridiculous. There's no way we have that information, right? And I don't blame them. They are frozen. The problem of having frozen investors who can't make decisions is you, as a founder, you are losing a lot of time as well, because like a fundraising is a full-time job. It's taking time away from building the product or talking to customers. And then you get into a very vicious circle where, because you are talking to VCs, you are not talking to customers, you're not having more traction, but the VCs are asking for traction, so you're stuck there. So my opinion here is keep all of that. raise the money that is way faster to raise, and you have two ways, right? You have the people basically who know deeply something. Either they know deeply about you, so those are the friends and family. So I was unlucky because my family are immigrants who moved to France, so didn't get a lot of luck there, but I was lucky with colleagues and bosses from SKP and BCG, so consulting firm partners, who were okay to invest in me. So those are very fast, very easy to get. The second part is try to get all the people who know your product and know your market deeply, because these guys will understand what you are building and will see the value. And for example, those are the subject matter experts or actually your clients. And funnily enough, like several talks we had with experts ended up, initially it was for interviewing them, getting feedback on the product, and they ended up investing. And this is a great thing, like you kill two birds with one stone. And this is moving me to the last slide about if you guys know B2B sales, come talk to me. Very happy to get in touch with you. If I can help you in any way, I'm here until Saturday, so please get in touch. Thank you so much for your attention.